Okay, afternoon. We are going to be continuing with surds now and looking at simplifying surds but with more difficult expressions. So, let's look at an example. So we're going to simplify root 8 plus 5 root 2. Now if you remember from the previous video, you can't add surds if they are different. Okay, but the fact that this question asks you to simplify means you should be able to do something. So we could look at root 8 to start with, and remember we can simplify root 8. We could write root 8 as root 4 times root 2. Okay, we're dividing root 8 by the highest square number that divides it, which is 4. Well, we rewrite 5 root 2 as 5 root 2. Okay. Now we change root 4 because root 4 is just, the square root of 4 is 2, so we change this to 2 root 2 plus 5 root 2. Now that the surds are the same, we can add them. How many root 2's do we have? We have 7 root 2's. We have simplified the expression. Okay. So, the next one. You might want to pause the video at this one, see if you can do it yourself, given your current understanding, and then if you can't, or you need to check, then play the video. So, expand and simplify root 2 brackets 3 root 6 minus 7 root 24 brackets. Pause the video now and answer this question. Now we're back. So, expand. We can times root 2 by the first term, giving us 3 times root 2 times root 6, and times root 2 by the second term, minus 7 root 2 times root 24. Okay, now when we times surds together, that's just what we do, we times them together. So this ends up being 3 root 12 minus 7 root 48. Okay, now we can't add these surds together because they're not the same, but we can simplify each term separately and see what happens. So, simplifying the first term, what's the biggest square number that divides 12? That's 4. So we change this to 3 times root 4 times root 3. What's the biggest square number that divides 48? It's not 4, it's 16. Biggest square number that divides 48 is 16, so we rewrite it like that. Now we can square root 4 and we can square root 16, so this ends up being 3 times 2 times root 3, just changing root 4 to 2, and minus 7 times 4 times root 3, changing root 16 to 4. Completing the multiplication, we end up with 6 root 3's, 3 times 2 is 6, minus 28 root 3's, because 7 times 4 is 28. We can then simplify this. 6 root 3's take away 28 root 3's, leaves me with negative 22 root 3's. Good stuff. Okay, next. Expand and simplify the following. 2 root 3 plus 3, brackets, root 2 minus 1. Okay. You should really pause the video now and see if you can do this. Having paused the video and tried it yourself, these are double brackets. We know how to deal with double brackets. We could put this in the box and we could do 2 root 2 times by the box plus 3 times by the box. Okay? Putting that inside, we get this. Expanding each of those brackets separately, okay, the first bracket becomes, well, 2 root 2 times root 2 is 2 root 2 root 2, and 2 root 2 times minus 1 is minus 2 root 2. I just timed out that first bracket. Next, 3 times root 2 is 3 root 2, and 3 times minus 1 is minus 3. Okay, so we're going to simplify where possible. So, root 2 times root 2, you can think of that in two ways. You can think of it as root 4, which is 2. So we'll leave it like that, 2 root 4. Minus 2 root 2, plus the 3 root 2's, because they're the same, becomes root 2, 1 root 2. And then negative 3 stays as it is. 2 root 4, well the square root of 4 is 2, so this is 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And then rewriting the other two terms as they were before. Finally, we have 4 plus root 2 minus 3. Combining the 4 and the minus 3 gives us 1 plus the root 2 that was already there. Okay? So, expanding that strange double bracket leads to quite a nice solution. Don't worry if you didn't get that, we'll be practicing lots of these in class. Okay. We will now be looking at one more complicated, slightly more complicated solution. So expand and simplify the following. 2 root 5 plus 3 squared. Okay? You should pause the video now and attempt this yourself. Having paused the video, you should have firstly written it like this. 2 root 5 plus root 3 times by 2 root 5 plus root 3. You then go on to expand this using the double brackets from the previous question. Okay? In the same method, we do 2 root 5. Oh, hold on, I'm just going to pause. Okay, continuing, sorry about that. We get 2 root 5 times the box plus root 3 times by the box. The box is just the bracket there, 2 root 5 plus root 3 and 2 root 5 plus root 3. Expanding each of those brackets separately, 2 root 5 times 2 root 5 is 2 root 5, 2 root 5. 2 root 5 times root 3 is 2 root 5 root 3. And then root 3 times 2 root 5 is root 3 times 2 root 5. And root 3 times root 3 is just that. Okay. We can simplify each term separately. So I've written them in an unsimplified way. I'm going to simplify them now. So 2 times 2 is 4. And root 5 times root 5, well, that's just 5. Because it would be the square root of 25, which is 5. Okay, 4 times 5 is 20. This term here, 2 root 5 times root 3, pause the video and write down what it is. Ends up being 2 root 15. And then this one, we can change the order of multiplication. So again, this ends up being 2 times root 3 times root 5, which is 2 root 15. And then root 3 times root 3, well, that's the square root of 9, which is 3. We can combine like terms. So we get the 20 plus the 3 is 23. And 2 root 15 plus 2 root 15. How many root 15s? 4 root 15. Okay? And that is your final answer for that video. Thank you for watching.